All right. Morning in progress. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here and being on time. Appreciate the freaking hell out of you guys. Okay, so tonight what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, it's always like weird glares, but it's okay. It's fine. We're almost there. But I'll talk to you guys tonight about how I nurture the prospects and the communication like that I have within social media, whatever works best for me, and then how I continue to nurture these conversations to eventually lead to like my most powerful and amazing clients and coaches. So something that's been working really well for me is detaching from the actual outcome and focusing right now on just building those relationships. I've had so much fun and I've done such like different things than I would normally do. So like, for example, and this has happened to me like 3 times this month. If somebody like and these are people that I'm messaging in Instagram DMs, if somebody accidentally video chats me, like you can just push a button, a butt dial, people do that. I answer it. And I've been having such fun conversations this way that I've been actually giving those kind of voice chats that opportunity in Instagram. So when somebody wants to talk to me about, and I know Danny was talking about, she had a call with a client. And that's something I used to do when somebody thought that they were like shared that they were interested in getting started, I would be like, let's get on a voice call right now, because I would just walk and have my earbuds in and I would talk to my people. And I mean, once you have someone on the phone with you, I feel like the relationship and the energy just vibes back and forth. Even if they were questioning it before, once they like talk to you and are interested, and realize how amazing you are and how amazing they are, it just seems like a much easier way to kind of get that transition into the client versus always like, oh yeah, one day or this will happen and so forth. So I've been using that a lot in my Instagram. It's kind of like when you use iPhone chat, you see faces, it's an actual face chat. So it's really weird, especially because normally we look homeless. I look homeless. So it's really entertaining because like you're sharing the whole thing, it's not about just a voice and whatnot, but that wasn't really the specifics on anything I was going to share with you guys, but just something to kind of open your like mindset up to, like different ideas and different ways to connect with your people. Because what I do on my Instagram is I'm going in and basically anybody who engages, like comments, likes on my posts and in my stories, especially if they have a story, I'm watching their story back, or I'm going to their page and I'm engaging on their page, basically just kind of like a thank you and like fostering those relationship buildings. And if I get into their messages, that's kind of how these conversations start to happen. But really the whole point and focus of my messages when I'm talking to them one-on-one on Instagram is to like build them up and to like get into their shoes, like get myself into their shoes and figure out like exactly what their pain points are. We've talked about that before, like say I'm a new mom and I don't even have a half a second to breathe. How am I supposed to find time to take care of myself? Okay, so like figuring those out, but also really feeling where they are at. So there's so like, even within that little story that I just told, there's so many different aspects that like that person could be in. So they could be like overwhelmed and stressed, or they could be over here like fearful and scared, and just kind of really drilling down into how they're actually feeling versus just checking it off like, oh yep, this person's postpartum and they have this, or oh this person has been a yo-yo dieter and has jumped on every trend, so they have this. But really, like if they're a yo-yo dieter, they either try everything because they're probably like an Enneagram 7, they just like to try everything and it's exciting for them, or they don't have that self-worth rooted in them to actually commit to something and let them try it and like be open for failure. So they're afraid of failure, so forth. So kind of going even deeper into why it is that you're talking to these people. And hopefully, if you're not, you will after this call, you're having conversations about things that are exciting to you. So I haven't had long conversations. Well, it's so funny because like a year ago, this would like have like drained me, but I've had like long conversations about like babes, because when they're little, like I can feel that I'm in that right now. Or, we talk about like dogs and so forth. Like I'm not talking to anybody about their brand of shirts that they're wearing that I don't care about, or their nails. I mean, sometimes I'll comment that people's nails are cute, but that's because it's just a good color. It's not because I want to like go out and do it and get weird. But if that's your thing, that's amazing. Okay. So just realizing that by connecting these conversations with things that are actually interesting for you, and then speaking to that and like really being active in that. So something that's like specific for what I've been doing with my potential clients is rewording what they share with me as like their concern. So for example, cost objections, like, oh, this sounds really great. I'd really be interested in joining, right? This is literally an example. Right now I'm opening up my Etsy shop and time and finances are really strapped right now. And I meet them where they're at. Okay. You know, for me, it was, oh gosh, I totally feel that. Congratulations on your Etsy shop. How freaking exciting. Can't wait to see what you do with it. And then something along the lines of, if I'm trying to make sure I word it right, I should look at my messages, but is there anything else holding you back besides the cost? If cost wasn't an issue, is there anything else holding you back? Because a lot of times it's not the cost. It's not the cost. It's not the time. It's something else holding them back. And that's just an easy like blanket that they throw over it. Kind of like when, this is bad because Danny's probably gonna yell at me, but kind of like when a mom says, oh, I can't, my kid's sick. Okay, so for example, my babes was sick. I get it, that's a real thing. But before I had a kid, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, okay, cool. I wish I had my own scapegoat that I could be with. Whereas now when a kid's sick, it's a nightmare because but that's just kind of where I'm at in my place, okay? So kind of rooting in deeper and like not like beating around the bush or like tiptoeing because you're afraid of scaring them off. If someone's going to get scared off, you don't want them on your team anyway, because they don't want to be here because they're not committed. So don't be worried about scaring them off and like asking things. That's something that took me like a year and a half, if not 2 years to do. Even somebody, she actually signed up probably 4 months ago, but we had been talking for 2 years on and off, and we hadn't talked for like 4 months. And this was just the beginning of this summer. And like, that was really when I would say my courage and my energy just like bloomed, was this beginning of the summer. And she like messaged me something about starting again. And I think all I responded was, is cost your only issue, or is there something else holding you back? And then she actually shared like, oh, I actually just don't like yoga. Like, okay, cool. I'm not trying to start you up with a yoga program. So let's talk about it. And she ended up signing up, and she's amazing. But it's just like, that is our kindness, or as humans or Americans, whatever you want to call us, like, we don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to like go into the real thing. Like, this is just a blanket. Like, oh, I wish I could come, sad face. It's like, okay, well, if you actually wanted to come, you'd be there. And if you can't come, that's cool. I don't need you to be sad about it. I need you to like live your life. Okay, going on a rant. But not being afraid of asking, drilling down and like asking them more and more questions. I think you guys might be eligible for it too. There's a conversation school that just reopened on Facebook that's hosted by a couple of coaches. And I haven't gone too deep into it just because I'm pretty laser focused on moving forward, but it's really fun to kind of like, when you need help or like you're questioning it, to kind of jump in there and see that, because I'm going to share with you some specific things that would be seen in this, or that basically these are things that was shared to me by my coach in different coach mentorships. And so I think I might just throw them in the chat, but I'll kind of run down the list too. And we'll talk about the main one that we all hear is cost objections. And the reason that we hear that, or like a way that you can get around that, is you're not sharing enough of the value. And so like every time I have a problem, or every time I have a roadblock, instead of being like, oh, why aren't these people signing up? I try to flip the switch as to, what am I not sharing with them to the point that they don't understand why this is life-changing? Like, what piece am I missing? Because when I first started, I was that same way. I thought $160 for a challenge pack was insane, and I wasn't going to do it. So I'm going to pull this message up right here. So just a few, and I'll put these in the chat, but I just kind of wanted to share like a couple with you right now. When someone like responds, and there's so many different options, you guys, but just when someone says it's too expensive, like an option would be, when you say it is too expensive, what are you comparing the price to? I'd love to understand better. Just kind of asking questions and like drilling into where they actually are. And I'll put these in the chat so you don't have to write them down. But then I don't know if this one's on the list. I'm trying to think of how. I got a brain fart, that's fine. Oh yeah, so something that I've been trying to do a lot lately that's really been helping is too, when someone says like, oh, I just don't have that money, I can't afford that right now. And then I just say, okay, I completely understand, like validate where they're at, because that's how I felt. I was the same way. So validate where they're at, because it's a true place. But then also you can ask those questions of like, especially if you know like what their pain points are, which hopefully you do. So for example, if someone was looking for like weight loss or something, or they were looking to just have more energy, something that I would say is, what results would you need to get to make that investment worthwhile? So like really drilling down as to what they need, not about what I can give you and here, let me just throw all this stuff at you, but drilling down to what they need. And then also you can kind of flip it to a point too, where, give me a second. Okay. So as far as like what results would you need to see to make this worthwhile, or saying something along the lines of, what is it that you think starting a program with, what is it that you think a lifestyle change would be worth, or what price would you be willing to pay to get these tools, or say they came to you for fitness, to get fitness at home for you on demand? What is the price point that you're looking for? Just to get a better idea, because honestly, like you can't really get much lower than 160 without being like, okay, well, I guess it would just be a DVD box that I'm looking for $40 or something, which works for some people for so long, right? So I got really deep in the cost objection ones because it's a big one, but then also like reiterate to yourself, or like remind yourself that what you can do for this in like the forefront. Speak when I get an objective, I love to speak directly to it on my stories. Reels have been really good for that lately. I kid you not, right now I'm like dating this girl who she's going to be an amazing coach. And every reel that I've been posting, and I am not catering it to her specifically, I have them drafted for the week. Every reel I've been posting is literally just hitting home for, I think on one of my reels, she wrote like, I'm feeling triggered. I'm just like, sorry, like it wasn't intentional, but it kind of was, it worked well. So either taking a list of what your objections are and using like your reels, your stories to speak to those, and then also remembering to share the value. So that means maybe getting a little bit more creative than just sharing like your sweaty selfie, your sweaty stories or something. I'm trying to think of like a specific tangible example for you guys. So for example, sometimes when I share my Shakeology, I'll put the list of ingredients on there, and then I'll circle one, and I'll just go to Google and I'll Google ashwagandha, and it will say like, this is used for stress support and mood boost. And I'll just like clip it right in there. And then I'll put it there and be like, this is the reason that I started, was because my stress and anxiety hid me under the blankets for a week. So kind of just sharing the value in different ways and like really nailing that on the head, all that you're getting, sharing what's going on in our sweaty studio or our sweat studio, sharing these different things and all the value that they're going to get. Okay. So then kind of going back to these conversations and like how I'm fostering these to be potential clients, I do use a Google form. And this is like a form or a goal setting sheet that I say that I have them fill out. Lately, I've kind of been bypassing that, and I trickle it in when I feel like it, but it's always nice to have that link in your bio, because then like you can get eventually like randomly people will pop in there, and that's so nice. But also it's just a really quick way to get an understanding of like if they like strength, if they like dancing, if they like whatever different things they have, because that's what I always want to give them the program that's going to fuel them. I love it when people piggyback and do things with me, because then I can easily hold their hands because we're all running together. But if somebody wants to do dancing, I've been there, I've done that, and like that's awesome because I loved it. You're going to love it. Yes, let's do that. So I do use those kind of tools, but not in the way as in the beginning when I used them. It was, okay, we start talking. Oh, you're interested, fill out this form. You have this form. Okay, I have your email from the form. I'll send you an email with the info. Okay, sign up. What's next? Whereas like now, I feel like I'm getting a little bit more pick and choose with what I need and want. Like if I'm really dating someone that I'm just so excited to start, I'm not going to have her go through a form because I don't want to lose her. And like that is kind of that fear mentality where I need to really pull myself back in and do that abundance. Like people want to come to me because this is such a life-changing opportunity. And I mean, whether you're coaching or you're a client, you're still getting so much out of this, because like I have people who are on Herbalife and they're messaging me, they're in these funks, and I'm just like, okay, what's your personal development? If you're having a bad day, like, what is it that you're doing to feel better? These aren't like things that everybody just automatically thinks of. And for us, it's a part of our business. Like if you don't read your personal development or listen to your personal development every day, you don't check off the success tracker. You don't complete that 100%. So just know that like we have something super powerful. And then the fact that we're coming out with a bike, I don't even we'll go there at the end. But okay, so I will throw these in the chat, and I'll probably put them in our team page too. They're really good. There's let's see. There's 14. So these are just cost objections, and it's not copy and pasting right now. We'll do that later. But these are just cost objections because that was a specific question that Danny asked me about. So I want to make sure I hit on that. And then a little bit about talking about somebody having like a share cart in their thing. I forget this sometimes, but something that I really love to do and it really helps me when I remember it 98% of the time is when I send somebody a share cart link, before I send them out, I say, do you have time to check out right now? They say yes. Or like if they're like, oh, I'll do it later tonight. And then I'll be like, okay, perfect. I'll send you the link. Message me back right away when you get it done. That way I can send you all of the welcome tools. Know that it expires within 24 hours. So then typically they're doing it right away. And then if they don't fill it out right away, most of the time I forget. And 48 hours later, I'll go in and I'll either do a follow-up, I'll delete, but I'll specifically ask them, hey, you said you were going to check out and you didn't. Do you need me to reset your link so that it's still active and you can check out right now? So kind of giving them this urgency, because yeah, that was something that I learned from Alexis in the team too. And it was so powerful. I was just like, oh yeah, duh. So that might be helpful. Obviously for this one, it probably won't help that much, but then I would wonder, like, make sure you have something exciting that you're inviting to, like, why would somebody want to start right now? Whether just like, oh, eventually I will, like if they're on their own time frame, they're going to still keep doing what it is that they are doing. So trying to pull them in on your time frame. So maybe that's, oh, actually on Monday, I pair up my new girls, and then whoever starts on their first Monday together gets the best of something. I'm trying to think, like, oh yeah, then you get your partner and you two actually are success partners. And it doesn't have to be coaching success partners. They're just client fitness success partners, because everybody wants to have a friend in this, but also everybody has that competition nature in them as well. Some just more than others. Okay, I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. So yeah, so ultimately the main thing with this call is just being in your messages and then giving yourself, especially if you're working in Power Pockets, giving yourself 1 to 2 Power Pockets a day to empty out your inbox and just keep that engagement and that connection going with your people. You'll find that if you're really excited about somebody, you're going to keep going back to that message and be like, oh, did they respond? And then you'll be like, no, but these people did. And you just quickly respond, get them out of there. And you're kind of always being really efficient in your time instead of just going on and scrolling or checking messages. Like, I just go in there, I empty them out, and then I'm done there. So that is what's been working for me, especially in the last 2 months, I would say, is getting super engaged and super active in my Instagram message thread. That's kind of where I've been staying. But lately with my follow-ups, I've been popping back into Facebook because those people already know me from, that's where my life was when I was in high school and college. So Facebook is a lot of roots for me. All right, so that's all I have to share with you guys tonight, but I will be on here and you can unmute you if you have specific questions. We can definitely go deeper on anything. It's kind of annoying that it won't let me copy and paste. So I'm going to do that over here, but I'll also put these in the team page as well. But yeah, well, looks like Tracy, I need to get more creative. Yeah, always. Yeah, I don't know why it's not letting me copy. I'll put it in the team page. Ooh, I'll stop recording. Oh shit, I don't want to cancel.